Council of Comics. Welcome to the Film and Box Office News. This is episode 31. We're doing John Wick Part 4. Let's go.
Black is like the brightest day. Where are the heroes? Soon as they get here, everything will be alright. I need a hero. Someone superhuman who can come and save my life.
What we came here to do. So yesterday, Ronaldo and Phil, they were able to see John Wick 4.
Phil beat me to it.
Today,
I went to like a 4:00 showing.
I had to go referee a soccer game. I went after the game.
today, Cliff and myself went to go see John Wick 4. So let us begin our John Wick 4 review. Remember, we're going to talk for the first 5-10 minutes. We're going to do non-spoiler. And then when we get to the spoiler part, we're going to tell y'all, wave your hand. You can hit pause or whatever, or mute, or whatever you want to do, or just skip all over it.
Yeah.
But yeah, all right. So I'll let you guys go first. Go ahead.
I overall enjoyed this movie. No
I
spoilers.
don't think Cliff
so,
did.
yeah, so I enjoyed this movie. If you like the other John Wicks, this is pretty much right on par with everything that you've been through with John Wick. I thought Donnie Yen is in the movie. That shouldn't be a spoiler, but I thought like his character was cool. He had some good fight scenes.
I thought the casting was amazing for this movie.
The casting was great. The cinematography, top notch.
It's probably
Yeah.
the best looking of the four.
It is. For
And
real.
Oh my God, the
expand the
sets
universe even
and the
more.
shots were crazy.
Absolutely.
Incredible. It's like almost they threw all their budget into that and just gave a little bit of money to the writers.
Yeah.
You
It's
know what
not,
I mean?
and it's as much as the first two, well, maybe not even all of the second one was fully gun ballet, as I call it. This one, they use some other weapons, and it is badass what they use.
Oh,
Especially
yeah,
at the end where he gets that gun where you're seeing it the top angle.
yeah.
That gun, wow.
Angel says I still have to see 2 and 3.
Do it.
Do it.
I didn't feel like this movie felt long. Like, even though it does clock in at like 2 hours and 50 minutes, I wasn't there like, let's wrap this up. Come on. Get to the point.
Yeah.
Now.
There was
I
a
felt
point
like-
in it where I looked at my watch because I wanted to see how much we had to go. And before we get to the spoilery portion, it's right where you kind of get the setup for the last major thrust. And I was like, I mean, how are they going to get another hour out of this? Is what my thought process was. And then, let me put it this: the stairs made sense. You know what I'm saying? Like right before that, I'm like, well, how? I mean, really? How you gonna? But okay.
Yeah, the stairs. That stair scene is wild. One of my favorite scenes.
And getting to them as well.
One of my favorite scenes is the above tops angle.
The video game angle.
Video game,
It
yeah,
was
the
wild.
video
That was
game
wild.
angle. When he's going room to room and all that, I was like, this is dope.
It reminded me of Fallout 2.
It reminded
Yeah.
me more of that old arcade game. It was like you could be a barbarian or you could be an elf shooting a
Gauntlet.
thing. What is it?
Gauntlet.
Gauntlet, yes,
Wow,
Gauntlet.
you
It
went back
reminded
to
me of that.
lesser graphics. Wow.
Gauntlet was official graphics back in the day when that game was
No,
out.
but I mean, listen, I really enjoyed Gauntlet back in the day.
Gauntlet was amazing. But yeah, like the cinematography, like the story itself, I get it. I did a mistake of thinking ahead. And I think that's kind of like what movies has done to me personally. Is like I'm always thinking ahead, like, oh, that could be in the next movie, or that could be, this could be a setup for that, instead of
Well, where's this
focusing on
going?
the movie.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Ramon says, oh, by the way, I like the new logo for the council on Facebook. Why, thank you, sir. Thank you. We are building and improving with each and every day. The story for this is basically John Wick has a plan to go and
Well,
kill the High Table. That's like in the
because
synopsis.
it's really his plan from the not his plan to kill the High Table from the first movie, but from the first movie, he just wants to get back out.
Yeah.
So in this
Yeah.
one, it's if that's what I have to do to get out, I'll do it.
Yeah. Opening scene was amazing. I was like, oh
Yeah.
yeah. That
It had-
opening scene was amazing to me.
It had Last Crusade vibes.
Yeah.
It did. And it, like from that opening scene, I was really happy. Like, yeah, I'm glad I'm seeing this here in my recliner at Roosevelt.
Yeah.
Like, this is
Donnie Yen, the introduction of new characters was done very well in this movie. You have the Donnie Yen character. What was his character in the movie?
his
Kane.
name was Kane.
Kane.
And he was sort of like the homage to like the blind swordsman type
Yes,
character.
yes.
Yeah.
He's the blind guy from Solo, or not Solo, from Rogue One.
Oh,
right?
Rogue One, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. His story, I like the introduction of the Marquis. I thought we could have seen a little bit more from the Marquis, but I did love it's Skarsgård, right?
Yes, Bill
Yeah.
Skarsgård, who I
Amazing
normally
performance.
love, and here the acting was good, but I hated everything.
Well, he's supposed to be the bad guy. Like you're not.
No, I
supposed-
know, but let me tell you, I love him as a bad guy. I love him in It. I love him as the villain in Castle Rock on Hulu. I even loved him in Barbarian, where he turned out not to be a villain. And here I was like, cool. I really like this. I was like, what's going on with his shoulders? I would put it in my contract that I couldn't walk like this if my shoulders looked like that. And I'm like. And then I was like, oh my God, is he speaking slowly because of this freaking accent he's putting on? Or what? I was like, all these dramatic pauses, someone shoot him. So, yeah, I really enjoyed him.
Just wait. We're
I
spoiling
really
everything.
enjoyed him, but
Not yet.
I never rooted so hard for someone to die in a movie.
Right.
He did
And I'll-
do the tropey thing with bad guys, where they're the only one in the room eating while they talk to somebody.
Yeah.
The first 3 scenes, he's eating.
The only thing is, like, they built him up to be like, oh, they let loose the Marquis, and you know what I mean, and all that. But then
Yeah.
you never really saw why he was so feared. You know what I mean? Like,
True.
Because it's a title of power thing. That's it.
no, but they made it specific that they let this specific guy out. They unleashed this specific guy because he was horrible.
In hindsight, I think if you look at it as he's got all the resources at his disposal, where he may have had to go through them, the High Table in the past, instead of he's a badass and he could take out on John Wick by himself, it's I'm at this powerful position and I can use whatever I want now. Instead of following the rules, I kind of can dance around him a little bit. That's the way I read that.
Mm.
I mean, I read it as a combination of things, that he has all the resources, that he despises everyone, right? And it was
Definitely
like,
does that.
but I never saw him as like any special threat. He's a title and power threat,
Mm-hmm.
The only time I've seen a villain who has title, power, and not just the threat of title and power, but physical power is the Emperor in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Mm.
Most times it's like the guy with the title and the power and the underlings.
Mm.
I also got the feeling that it was his title was more inherited than he earned it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's the
Yeah.
rich guy his family has that title, so he's just the latest with that
Yeah.
title.
I kind of almost wanted them to not take a cowardly spin to him, to not
Yeah.
spoil it, you know what I mean? But they kind of spinned it that way. Another new character was Nobody, Mr. Nobody.
Yep.
He has a little dog that's ferocious.
Yep.
Very nice. The way they use
Not
dogs
man.
in the series, man. This is a dog lover series, I'm telling you.
Mhm. How about the
We do-
Harbinger?
The Harbinger. The Harbinger was cool. What's that actor's name?
I know it too. As soon as you said you asked,
He
me,
was the villain of the original Highlander, if you remember.
was he?
The Highlander movie.
Ian McShane? No. Ian
No.
McShane's Winston.
It's
What am I thinking?
what is? You don't make me look it up. Hold on, give me a sec. I'll find it.
While he's looking that up, we do find out what happens to this character that's on screen. In this movie, we'll talk about that later. There's a couple other villains. The guy in the purple suit,
Oh, the Harbinger.
the
is
Clancy
goatee.
Brown.
Clancy
Oh,
Brown.
Clancy Brown, Lex Luthor from the animated series of Superman
Yeah.
and Justice League.
Yes.
Are we into the spoiler section yet?
Not yet.
Can we
Phil,
be?
All right, because I want to talk about an actor, but I can't then.
Phil, did you say something?
Oh nope. I was just
All right.
The
So
guy that
overall,
runs the Osaka Continentals is my favorite character in this movie.
oh, he's pretty dope. Very
He-
honorable. Very,
he
very,
was
very
dope.
honorable.
And
So,
his speeches, I think, were the best. Other than the one at the end, I think were the best out of the movie.
so before we get into spoiler, overall, I enjoyed the movie. I didn't think it was super duper like some people have been calling it, like the greatest action movie ever. It may have some of the greatest action shot things.
That's
You
what
know
I
what I
would say.
mean? That's what I would say. But as far as action itself, like no, as an action movie, no. Because it didn't do anything that we weren't surprised at. It was just
Well-
there were new methods of how he did it, but it's pretty much the same thing. Guys come at John Wick, he has to figure out a way.
I went
Yeah.
to John Wick 4, and I kind of had to ask myself, like, going to it is like one of the complaints about Marvel movies is that they're formulaic. There's a formula to
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
I felt like, all right, here's John Wick 4, and like going into the theater, I was like, is there a formula to these John Wick films now that I've seen 3 of them? And I think there kind of sort of is now that you've been through, like, this is the 4th one. And we've done
Yeah.
them like back to back to back, but we haven't done them like years apart.
Yeah.
I think they threw some of the formula out though, because he doesn't go to the Continental in this one, and that was he goes to it in every single one. You see the Continental, but he doesn't go to it.
But he goes to forms of the Continental
I
types.
guess, yeah, I
You know
guess.
what I mean?
Oh, Sean has a comment.
Sean, it has some well executed scenes for sure. Arc the Triumph and the dance club scene is superb.
The dance club scene is rough.
The dance club scene is
Also,
beautiful, and I told Sam this. I thought it was beautifully shot. I also absolutely hate it.
I
could've
thought
been-
it was odd.
could've-
And it seemed like depending on where they were fighting, some people were watching, but in other parts of the club, people just kept dancing.
And I hated that
people are fighting,
because-
we don't care.
What up,
because-
Toy Games?
Woo!
Siege Runhouse, yeah.
He misses us. We miss you too.
What love.
Like parts of they keep dancing, like they see people getting stabbed, and their necks ripped
Yeah.
open, like it's no big
And
deal.
shot. The first thing that happens
Yes!
is people get shot. Even in New York City, where
Yes.
John Wick can run around the city, and in real life, I believe John Wick can run around the city and no one would care. But in New York City, when a gunshot goes off in the club, people run. So, and this is Germany. Germany is zero tolerance. They were like, like
Well, and I'll agree with you, because if you remember at the end of that scene when I don't know if we're in the spoiler section yet.
No, we're gonna get that in a second.
Okay, at the end of that scene, you see everybody running out of the club.
Yeah.
They
At
were
the
running
end,
before,
for 10
but
minutes.
this one was like,
Yeah.
Why were you running for 10 minutes?
Sean says Scott Atkins was the big bad in that scene. I thought it was Sacha Baron Cohen. Yeah, that guy had
No,
prosthetics,
no.
right? It was prosthetics, right?
It was definitely prosthetics
Okay.
or
All
a
right.
bat suit anyway.
All right. So we are now in spoiler territory. If you have not seen John Wick 4, you will have to hit the mute buttons or have to leave the room. All right. So right here, like that. If you're gonna hit mute, I'll go like this, and then when I go like that again, you can come back. All right. So boom, spoiler territory.
Okay, let's give him his flowers. Lance Reddick, probably his last movie, goes out like a bitch in this one. Pissed me off no end.
Who's Lance Reddick play?
He's the concierge that gets shot.
Oh,
He
yeah.
was
Like,
shot
you
at the
gonna kill the
beginning.
guy, give him a good ending. That was a bitch ending. That pissed me off.
But think about
One
it.
big
like-
thing I thought was like, there's not a lot of John Wick's dog in this movie.
None. Almost.
Like
Yeah.
until like the very end. And I was like, where's John Wick's dog through
Yeah,
all of
Diane
this?
says, makes me so sad that Lance Reddick's last film. Yep, screenshot guy just said that. I mean, that's really sad. Angel muting. Diane says Sharon. And Sean says prosthetics recycled from the whale via Brendan Fraser. Oh,
Nice.
perhaps.
Wow, ferocious.
Like like okay, that's how they wanted to end his character because they didn't know this guy was gonna die.
Well, correct.
You know what I mean?
You're absolutely. In hindsight,
It makes it more of us for us watching it like we wish we could have had more,
But that character deserved more.
he might have got more. You never know. It probably listen. In these kind of movies, you don't know if people come back to life. They're not really dead. You know what I mean?
Oh,
blah,
he's
blah,
dead.
blah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the conversation that he and Ian McShane have as he's dying is great, but I still think that character deserved more, considering the subtleness that he had given through the entire series. But you know, I didn't write it, so who am I to say?
Very true.
On the other hand, you know, they wanted to give us a gutting death in this movie, and I feel like that was definitely one to open with. You know, give you that feeling of like, oh no.
That's fair.
Definitely.
I didn't like the ending, and we'll get to that. That's my only other complaint. I thought the end. Yeah.
Yeah, the beginning of the movie starts off with this character right here, the Bowery King.
No, it starts off in the desert. Oh no, you're right.
No.
You're right.
Starts off with the Bowery King going through
You're
the
right.
tunnels, doing his little speech, blah blah blah, and he shows up, and John Wick's hitting the post and blood. He's like, "Are you ready, John?" And he's like,
Oh yeah.
And it starts off with John Wick. And remember, Cliff pointed out, like, shows up like the four horsemen over the sun coming through, and
then they're being chased by John Wick.
chased by the horseman of death, John Wick. And I'm like, are they on a horse? He's chasing them on a horse.
And it's only three of them. You realize once it pans back. Yeah.
Yeah. So then he kills those three, and he ends up going to. Is that guy part of the table?
Who, the guy kills it?
Yeah.
No, he's the elder. Remember, he says, "I want my ring back," and he says, "I don't have it anymore, and neither does the elder before me."
So they're not
the
part
guy
of the
who
table.
took his ring in 3 was the elder before, who's above the table, but that he's no longer the elder. So he's like, you know, I don't have it, and you can do whatever you want. And he's like, you killing me is not going to change anything. And then bang, anyway.
Yeah, you're gone, buddy. And so John Wick basically has a mission to go. He's going out to kill the whole table. His job. That's the only way he thinks he can get out of this is by killing the whole table, and that's what he's gonna do. And the table has brought in a guy called the Marquis, who they claim they're give him all the resources that he needs. They've unleashed him because they want John Wick dead.
They want this whole situation cleaned up.
They want it cleaned up.
Look like they don't have power to do whatever they want.
Yeah, the Marquis, played by Skarsgård, done very well. He then enlists the services of Kane, who's played by Donnie Yen. And the reason why he's able to do this is because basically the Marquis dangles over his head his daughter's life. You made a deal, blah, blah, blah. And come to find out that Kane and John Wick are good friends. And, you know, he doesn't want to do it, but he ends up doing it anyway. It then goes to Osaka, the Osaka Continental, where probably one of the illest Continentals, very like, I guess is that
so badass.
Yeah, is that like samurai type stuff or ninja type stuff?
I would say, well, it's Japan, right? So I would say samurai.
Say samurai, right?
Yeah.
So
they also had the ninja stars and stuff like they.
Yeah, like instead of guns, they had like
that was
swords
one of the best
and
lines
stars
where it
and all that.
We have visitors prepared to give them hospitality.
Yeah. Now, while this is happening, they're showing that the New York Continental has been condemned.
Yes.
And Ian McShane's character goes before the Marquis, and basically the reason John Wick is going out, the reason why this is happening is because your fault, because you didn't take care of John Wick. You're supposed to take care of him. And basically,
I shot him.
Yeah, he say I shot him, and he's like, yeah, but you know what? He's not
But
dead.
you didn't kill him.
Yeah, and so before they shoot the concierge, they blew up the building first, right?
No, after I think. Oh
All right.
no,
Before
it is
Before they
before
blew
they
up-
shoot him, they blow it up.
Yes, it
They
is
Because
blow
he
it-
tries, Sharon tries to appeal to him, and he's like,
That's right.
"Why are you
That's
even
right.
speaking to me?" You know,
Right.
Well, in a previous cool scene, like what's that guy's name again? The Harbinger comes in, pulls out a big sand. What are those things called? The hourglass
Hourglass.
things. Spins
Yeah.
it over and is like, "You have 1 hour."
1 hour.
So they have to evacuate, and then they go meet the Marquis. The Marquis blows up the Continental as part of his punishment.
Mhm.
And then the concierge tries to step in to say something to save.
no, that was before they blew it up. Because why would he would have nothing to say if it was already blown up,
Yeah.
right? So then Skarsgård gives the big speech to what's his face, and you think he's gonna shoot him, and he goes, "And you have no more use for a concierge," and he shoots the concierge.
Well, even before that, remember he said, other than the how you
Yeah,
do
you're
one
right.
thing is how you do everything, but he says something along the lines of, I can't remember the exact wording, but you believe in second chances, and I don't.
No,
Second
they
chan-
opened with that. They opened with this.
Second chances is failure. I don't believe in second chances.
Mm-hmm. Sean says Samurai Selection Mortal Kombat reboot Scorpion had a good amount of screen time too with Kane. That's true. That was the guy from Mortal Kombat. So okay, just to speed through because I don't think we can go through every part of this movie, but the Marquis goes to the Osaka Continental, blows it up, sends Kane down the Yang in. He ends up killing the father, the owner of that Continental.
Well, Kane does.
Yeah, the daughter ends up staying alive, and she basically told John Wick, "You need to kill him, or else I'm going to kill him." And
The
then
daughter was a cool character.
She was
Yeah.
cool.
I wanted to see her fight more in this movie.
Yeah.
By the way, I love both her outfits. Her concierge outfit and her ninja outfit were both great.
Her ninja outfit was pretty badass.
Yeah.
That
Well, I like
fight,
how she
that whole
says-
Continental fight in like Osaka is probably one of my favorite fights of the movie. Like John Wick got the nunchucks along the way.
Yeah, the
Oh,
nunchuck
No, you know what's
scenes.
funny?
So cool.
That is my favorite fight of the movie. That whole thing. I thought all of that was great.
My
Except for the
favorite part-
invulnerability suits. That kind of like that.
Well,
I mean, but they established that already.
But we've seen that, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I
thought
know,
it was
but they were
interesting how
more
they used
annoying here. I was like, what is this? I'm sorry.
The best part of that, for me, the best part of that whole section, the fight in Osaka is when it's him and Kane one-on-one, and he's like, "You dead, John? Are you dead?" And he doesn't move.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
then
awesome.
he accidentally hits that one little pebble of glass, and then
Yeah.
starts again. I was like, "Oh."
Great
Well, how
scene.
about-
Listen.
How about the mobile doorbells that he puts in the kitchen so he can know where everybody is?
Yeah, I thought they were bombs, but then they found out they were doorbells, and I was like, that's pretty smart. That's pretty cool. Donnie Yen killed it in this movie, which leads to okay, John. Just to like go to it because I want to talk about some end of the movie stuff. Through all the hijinks and everything, it's told to John that he can actually end this by challenging the Marquis to a duel. And if he
One-on-one.
wins the duel, he can win his freedom. He can win his everything. He can put everything right, basically.
Right.
So, in order for you to have a duel or have the high table sanction it, you must be part of a family, and they have to sponsor you. But
Yeah.
from the previous movies, he already had his ticket cut or ripped, so he wasn't part of a family. So he has to go back to this family to
Yep.
get his new ticket and a new brand so that he can be accepted so he can have the duel, which is like a little side story that we were talking about before when he goes into this party that's here.
Mhm.
Could have been cut. A lot of this could have been cut out.
I liked
I
it.
thought.
I thought it was interesting. How about where he walks into the church and he says, "I'm here to see, I need to see Father. I need to see Peter," and then he blows
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, when he's going to get his ticket back again. So why he's going to see his family, they tell him, okay, the only way you're getting back in this family is if you kill the guy that killed Uncle Piotr.
Yeah.
So he has to go to this party to kill this villainous type. What's that guy's name? Dick Tracy type character. I thought.
Yeah. I
Um,
didn't fully understand the discussion that they were having when they were playing cards. It was a little convoluted. Other than we all want to kill him, but I get to because I have, what I'm cheating.
Yeah, because he basically was going to cheat anyway. So it's
Right.
like it didn't really matter what anybody else did. So John ends up killing that guy. He gets back in the family, and he
Takes
issues
his
the
tooth
challenge.
back.
Yes, takes his tooth as proof, and he ends up issuing the challenge to the Marquis, which is accepted. And I thought it was a pretty cool scene where they're doing the rules.
Yes, where they flip the
Yeah.
Oh, they
Yeah.
put the
They have-
card, whichever has
Yeah,
the
they have
higher
like metal
score.
cards in front of them that are random in front of them, and they would go back and forth. They'll be like, "All right, time," and he'd say, "sunset," and John was like, "Now."
now. Now. Yeah.
So they have to flip over the card, and if their number wins, their choice gets picked.
Yep.
So it ends up being sunset. John loses that.
Sunrise.
Sunrise, and then they go to weapons. The Marquis wants blades. John's like, no, pistols.
Pistols.
He wins that, so they get pistols.
And he wins the location too.
And he wins the location. But to a twist on it, the Marquis nominates Donnie Yang to fight for him. Which
Well,
Donnie
and
Yang,
the other part of it too is that Winston is his second,
yes,
and he negotiates that if John wins,
yeah,
they rebuild the Continental with table funds. He's
Mhm.
now the manager again, and everything goes back to the way it was. But if John loses, they kill him too.
Yeah. I thought it was funny when John Wick looks back at him like, you really asked for all that stuff.
Right. What? And then look at his face like, yeah.
So yeah, and then Donnie Yen real quick is like, I'm not gonna fight for you, and he's like, you're forgetting about your daughter, and he's like, shit, I gotta fight for him. So
Yeah, every time Donnie Yang's character opened his mouth after they threatened his daughter, I was like, why are you talking? It's pointless.
yeah, all they gotta
It's
do is mention your
pointless.
daughter.
You're in.
Yeah.
You know?
So they have a time, everything's set for the fight, but the Marquis is just, he's this guy. That
Can't just let it go.
He just can't let it
cheat.
go. So he sends the word out that John Wick shouldn't even make it to the sunrise.
That's
So-
my other complaint too was that woman that was doing the radio broadcast. I thought was
That's a homage to the Warriors.
To the
I
Warriors,
still thought it
yeah.
was dumb. I
Yeah.
still thought it was dumb.
Yeah, I thought it was like, because they went with it too. Like, I thought you were
Yeah.
going to go see that like once and you're going to get it. No,
Yeah,
they kept
yeah.
it up and kept it going for
Yeah.
like that whole, which is
I
probably like
enjoyed
the second best scene, I thought.
Yeah,
in
I
the movie,
enjoyed
with
that. And I was like,
whole-
oh, they're really going with this. Like you
I
said,
thought the
bro.
fight scenes were great. I just thought that element of it was dumb. It just
So-
it seemed stupid. I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah, that's a homage to the Warriors movie.
Yeah.
And
So basically
I
the
thought it
call
was
is
cool.
put out and it's now like 26 million for John Wick. And
Because Mr. Nobody asked for 26.
yeah, but you had to kill him before sunrise. 6:03.
Yeah, so he can't get
Well, then
there.
Mr. Nobody had it up to 40.
Well, he got
Yes.
it to 40 because
Yeah,
he
got
moved
it
to
to
40
40.
because it kept changing. Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason it originally goes to 26 is he calls him. He's like, "Look, I got him." He's like, and remember, if you see the Marquis in that little fountain room or whatever you want to call it with the model of Paris, and they're
Mhm.
arguing back and forth. And he slams the phone. He's like, "Fuck it, I got to give him the 26. But if I'm giving him the 26, I'll give it to everybody."
The
Yeah.
40. The 40.
Yeah.
Before it.
Was it 40? I thought it was
It was
24.
No, it was
No,
26. It was 26, but then the guy Marquis calls him back, and as soon as he picks up the phone, he goes 40.
That's where you're right. You're right.
Yeah. So yeah, okay, so that now Mr. Nobody, now amidst of everybody trying to kill John Wick, so he doesn't make it to the thing. Mr. Nobody's hunting him down, and there's a
But
moment.
Mr. Nobody wants a certain amount of money. To
Yeah,
do it.
there's a moment where his dog is gonna get killed, and John Wick saves the dog.
Yes.
Oh, who could have seen that coming?
Yeah.
Right. How about even before that, when they're negotiating and the Marquis puts a knife through his hand, and I'm like,
Yeah.
don't fucking do it, man. And then he
Yeah.
pulls his hand through it. I'm like, no! That was rough to
Ah.
watch.
That
I like
was rough.
the shotgun shells, the incendiary
Shotguns
shotguns.
from the over top, like bang, bang. Yeah,
So
those are
badass.
pretty dope. Those are pretty dope. So then we get to the stairs. After all the hijinks.
Yes, 222 of them.
He has to climb 222 stairs while fighting all these people. He gets to the top of the stairs. And
Almost to the
the
top.
annoying bad guy. I kept telling Cliff, this dude is so annoing. Why don't they just kill him already?
I love the mid boss guy.
The mid-boss
He
guy
kind
is
of
so
sucked. I didn't
annoying.
like him.
But then John Wick gets knocked all the way back down the stairs. I look at Cliff, I'm like,
What are they
are
doing?
you kidding me here? What are we doing here? But Donnie
Well,
Yang's
and then-
character comes.
And then Kane decides, you need
Kane
to get up
s-
there.
Yeah, he's like, I need you to be at the top of these stairs. So come on. And they fight and they get to the top of the stairs. And they finally reach the duel right at sunrise.
Yes.
So they all get dressed. They take off whatever. And Kane and John Wick have to go 30 paces apart. And they get one shot for each round. Some thick,
Yes.
like thick shotgun type, pistol type thing.
well, dueling pistols.
They're dueling pistols. So after the first round they shoot, they hit each other like side shots on the arm. Then they move up 20 paces. They fire another shot. They shoot each other. Like Donnie gets, Kane gets shot in the to the left of his stomach.
Yeah.
And John
And
Wick
he
gets
says,
shot in the
"Nice."
shoulder, and they're like nice. Then they move up 10 more steps, and when they
Tell me when they
fire,
moved from 30 to 20, though, it did look way closer than it was.
it did. When they get to the third one, they say fire, and Kane fires, but John Wick does not fire.
But you don't know that right away.
I knew it when I watched it.
I had a feeling, but I wasn't
I
sure.
knew it when I watched it because I saw his thing. I was like, he didn't fire. He fell. The marquee, he's like, oh, I call some kind of thing.
Coup de
where-
grace.
Coup de grace.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm gonna take the last shot, and he takes the gun. But Kane was like, am I free? And he's like, yeah. He's like, yeah, you're free. Get out of here. Then he goes up, and he's about to shoot John Wick.
You arrogant ass.
Yeah, and then the Continental manager's like, Winston, he's like, you arrogant ass. He's never shot. And he turns around. John Wick's like, bam. And he shoots him.
Consequences.
Yeah, consequences.
Well,
And he kills.
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
He kills. I'm gonna finish it up here. He kills him. The Harbinger looks over everything and he's like, "Okay, your obligation is fulfilled. John Wick, you're free of this life. You're free of all this. You can go. Kane, you're free. You can go." And then he leaves. And then John Wick goes up to Winston and he says, "Remember, take me home.
Can you take me home?
Can you take me home?" And Winston's like, yes. And John Wick goes to the steps, sits on the steps, says his wife's name, Helen, and spoiler alert, John Wick dies at the end of this movie.
How about before the last shots, when they're 10 paces away and they look at each other, and I can't remember what Kane says. Kane says something interesting, and then John says to him, "He who clings to death will live, and he who clings to the life will die."
Yeah.
And I was like,
yeah.
and it was kind of like, it was almost like, and if you remember, they were in the church the night before, sitting there after he lights the candle, and he says to him, "Do you think she hears you?" And he's like, "I don't know." He goes, "Then why do you do it?" He goes, "Because what if I'm wrong?"
Right.
So the whole time, it's like, I think they almost had.
I think they had
what
a
were doing.
secret message. Remember when they were walking their steps and they were tapping like
Yes.
the wood pieces, kind of like letting them know, like on this one, you know what I mean, or
Yes.
or a certain thing like that, which I thought was pretty cool. So yeah, they bury John Wick, and then we have one end credit
Loving
scene.
husband. Loving
Beloved
husband.
Oh yeah,
Loving
he's
husband.
like, I want my tombstone to say loving husband because his wife's tombstone says loving wife.
Well, no, he said you don't find that out till then. But remember, there's the scene where they're all talking about what they want on theirs, and he just, as he's walking away, kind of turns around and goes, "Oh, by the way, this is the one I want on mine."
Yeah, but he already knew her tombstone said loving wife.
Yeah, but
Right,
they
right,
didn't.
yeah.
But they didn't know that.
Yeah. So there's one end credit scene, and the end credit scene is done as Kane's character, Donnie Yang, has flowers. He's going to see his daughter.
Donnie Yang's character, Kane.
Yeah.
I didn't
okay.
there was a post-credit scene.
Huh?
There was a post-credit scene.
Yeah.
Yes,
You missed
yes.
that?
I
All
stayed
right.
for about 2 minutes, and
No,
it didn't
it's
look like
all the
it was
way at
going
the
anywhere.
end. It's
At the
all
very,
at
very
yeah,
end.
my bad.
So Donnie Yang's bringing flowers. Kane's character's bringing flowers to his daughter, And then what's weird because the lens is blurred, and I'm like, why is that blurry? And it's basically from the daughter of the Osaka guy's daughter, and it's her, and she's kind of like crying, and she's walking toward Kane, and she pops a knife, and that's where it ends.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
not bad.
That's why I said the end of this movie could literally be the beginning
Beginning of 5
of
yeah.
that next movie, that next iteration.
I also like the conversation that Kane and the Hosa, it's Shimazu, I think his name is, that they're having before he kills him. And he says, you don't owe anything to John. He goes, basically, what is friendship if nothing's risked?
Yeah.
That's not friendship.
Yeah.
I thought that whole, because you can tell those two respect each other. And I think at one point, those two are probably friends as well. But it was like, I got to do a job. He's like, yeah, I get that, but I'm not going to let you do it easily.
And it was powerful when she went for the sword.
Yes.
To like kill him, and he was
says,
just like,
no,
live.
Right, please just live. I don't want to do it, but I will.
Yeah.
So John broke his promise to her.
Yeah. So I guess that's going to be a thread that continues in another thing. And of course, the Continental is being rebuilt, so they can actually do a post John Wick 4 series with Continental as well, moving forward. In that whole, they've set up a universe basically.
Now, riddle me this, and I don't think it's the case, but remember when it's him and or at the grave at the end. Oh, him and the Bowery King are at the grave.
Yeah.
And then and then Winston, before they walk away, Winston puts his hand on the tombstone and says, "Farewell, my son." The guy next to me, and I don't buy into this, was like, "Oh, was that his son the whole time? And he didn't know." I'm like, because he's an orphan, right? I'm like, I don't think so.
I didn't pick up on that, but
it could.
I don't buy
it
that.
Could be.
Be
I don't buy that. I just buy that John was an orphan, and this is the closest thing he's ever known to a father.
I also think Winston kind of treated him like a son, but was not his father. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I read it too. But I was like, this guy was like, that's an interesting take, but I don't think so.
Yeah. All right. So that is our John Wick 4 review. What up?
Kill count.
Oh yeah, give us the kill count.
What do you think it was this movie? Mind you, there.
Oh my God, we're over 200. It's over 200.
No, I'm going to say it was probably around.
You gotta remember, there's large portions of the movie that he's not in. If the total kill count is well over 200, but just his kills, and there's a handful of guys on the stairs that he stabs and fall away, but they're not like mortal ones. They're like in the leg or whatever, and you just never see them again. So I'm not counting those. I'm counting, you see a guy get shot in the head, or they're shot 2 or 3 times, and then they get shot in the head, that kind of thing. That's a full kill to me. That's confirmed to me. So there's a handful of guys that probably could be dead, but I'm not giving. There's a couple guys where in Osaka where the screen, you know how there's like 6 different people fighting. It leaves him and comes back, and he was fighting 2 guys when it left. It comes back, and there's 2 guys on the floor. I'm like, he had to have killed them because they would still be fighting. So I would give him credit for those 2 guys, that kind of thing. So, mind you, this is first watch. What do you think?
I'm gonna say 75.
Higher than that. So we went from, I think it was 69 in the first movie, 115 in the second movie, 90 something in the third movie, but that was because what's her name had killed a bunch of people. So with that in mind,
145.
Close. What do you got, Phil?
I was going to say it was going to be around the 120ish area.
I counted 128.
128.
128.
Okay. Who wants the official body count?
The total body count
of this movie.
Do they have it on
what is
somewhere? Is this everybody or just his?
No, this is just one. You know what? No, it's not official, so that's it.
Yeah, we'll look for it. We'll see if we find. I'm sure somebody's done it. All right. So I give this film an 8. 8 out of 10.
Yeah,
what about you, Phil?
I would agree with about an 8 out of 10. Like the John Wick films are they're good action movies. It's not like the best thing like in the world, but it's a good action movies, and they're good homages to like older action movies
Yeah.
too that are sprinkled throughout all of these.
Yeah. Cliff?
I'm afraid to say.
Oh, go
You
ahead,
You can
Cliff.
shred it. We know you were going to because
Cliff had a lot of
we've been
sides
waiting
in the
for
theater.
I was like, I had many a sides in theater. I would be like, why the fuck are they doing this? And I'm like, what? I'm like, why are they abusing this? And I'm like, why aren't these people running? The Germany scene, the German nightclub really brought the movie down to around a 4 for me. The movie picked back up after that. I'm gonna table it at like a 6.
6. Ooh. Okay. Green shirt guy?
It's tough. I liked the larger portions of this movie. There was a couple of things I was like I said, the woman on the microphone in the chasing, I thought it was overdone. I did like the fight scenes. I thought she was annoying. The German guy hit fucking. How many times do they have to kill that guy?
Too many.
But I also looked at him as, this is if you look at this almost like a comic book movie, he would have been the Kingpin character, and Kingpin's not easy to kill, right?
Sure.
Kind of had
Sure.
the same build, so
Yeah.
I'm okay with him having to kill him 3 or 4 times. And I just love you shot me in the ass, you bastard. That made me laugh. I give it a 9. And in the pantheon of this series, this is my second favorite. I think number 1's the best because it's the original. But I really did like this one a lot. So I would say this is the second best one, and then maybe 2 after that, and the third one last.
Okay. I mean, as a whole, John Wick 1 through 4, it's a
yes.
great sit down and watch. Honestly,
It is.
You
It's a
want to
great
escape
marathon.
and have fun. It has a beginning, it has an ending, it even has little tentacles to spread out. So pretty good. All right. So that was our John Wick 4 review. What do you guys think out there in the council?